to the end of your life, and I promise it's going to hurt. Ready for the pain?
Greetings, viewers, and welcome to another episode of The Collection Crib. I am your host, Tylercloud. Today, we're going to be looking at my third part of my Dragon Ball Z Irwin toy collection. We're going to be looking at, of course, the rest of the 5-inch figures that was released by Irwin before Jakks Pacific bought them in late 2002, early 2003. And if there's any figures that I'm missing, I'll, of course, address it. And I gotta tell you, though, these were the most memorable figures for me growing up. A handful of these were the survivors of my childhood, and I will point them out when we get to them. Or they were just given to me by a good cousin of mine. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with series number 7. And of course, I don't have the 7 background, or the 11 background, when ironic. But let's start with, of course, with the one who's made more appearances on my show than any other figure of Dragon Ball Z so far. And that is Majin Vegeta. Super Saiyan Majin Vegeta. He just looks skinny, but he looks badass, just kind of giving that evil look in his eye. The M kind of looks crooked, or, I don't know, slanted, but he just looks angry, pissed off, and wants to kill Kakarot for good. But there's also another figure of Majin Vegeta, and he has black hair. And if you remember from the show, Majin Vegeta never had black hair when he obtained that Majin form. He was always in his Super Saiyan form. So it's kind of cool that they made 2 versions of Majin Vegeta. One with his Super Saiyan hair and the one where it doesn't exist in the show, but they gave him black hair. So I think that's kind of cool. Up next, we have the Great Saiyaman, aka Gohan trying to be Spider-Man. Not a huge fan of the arc, but Saiyaman, I mean, say what you want. He looks okay. You know, just kind of giving that whole superhero vibe. And what's cool about Saiyaman is even though he's not as flexible as, like, say, most of the other figures, you can take his head off and you can replace it with the attire that Gohan would wear during the martial arts tournament before he would have to take them off. So he had the glasses and the bandana. He's got his glove there that has that watch that makes his costume appear on him like right away. Like, really cool. Not a bad figure. I kind of enjoy it. Little underrated figure just because, you know, let's just be honest. Saiyaman is goofy and Gohan betraying him is so goofy. It's like Spider-Man in a children's cartoon. I don't know. It was weird. Weird time before the whole transition to Buu. And speaking of Buu and transition, here is the one that would spark the whole Majin era. Spobovish. He was a Spobovish, I think. Vish, I don't know. Spobovish. That's what I'm going with. But anyway, look at this guy. He is bulky, he is monstrous, and my goodness, he can tear apart a car if he could. He was a human that got the Majin powers from Babidi. And of course, he's got his energy needle here that he sticks into Gohan and drains his power. And he flies that to Babidi, and then he gets killed by Babidi after he delivers, you know, the power. So it just kind of shows you what little Babidi cared about his men. But yeah, Spobovish was the one that lit the fire in the entire Majin arc, because when they saw him, the Z Warriors saw him at the martial arts tournament, they were like, whoa, like, he's different looking. And even Hercule knew who he was, and he was like, whoa, he looks different. Like, why did he look so different? Why the hell did he beat up Videl so viciously and violently? Like, how did he not get arrested for that? He beat up Videl so bad. Oh god, like he broke her in two, dude. It was awful. But yeah, as in terms of a toy, I love this figure. His M actually looks pretty close to being perfect, and it's just a bulky figure. I love Spopovich. It's like Nappa, but 4 times bulkier. Really cool figure. My favorite in the seventh series. And unfortunately, I don't have the original Gohan for this figure, but this was given to me by my cousin. This was the biker Gohan. The original Gohan had his Super Saiyan hair. It wasn't really gold like this. And I think the plastic mold for the toy was not as shiny. Kind of like more traditional, like the original from Series 7 or an 8 or whatever. But I just thought I'd kind of include him just because he is shiny, he is cool. This was our introduction to Gohan in this attire when he was training with Goten. Really cool figure. It's a shame I didn't find the bike for him, but if I ever do in the future, I'll definitely make another part to include either by itself or with the other vehicles that Irwin released. And that is for another time. So now let us move on to series number 8. And we've got Gohan when he is stripped of the entire Saiyaman gimmick and he fights Deborah and then gets mutilated by Boo. But kind of simple figure, but it's a really good Gohan figure. Unfortunately, I don't have the Z Sword Gohan, but this is as far as I go in terms of owning Irwin Toy Gohan and Super Saiyan in terms of, timeline. So it's pretty good. I don't mind this Gohan. Ripped to shreds and, the whole entire black jumpsuit he's got on. Really cool. Not too flexible in his arms. It only goes up and down. And his boots, of course, traditional Saiyan footwear. Really cool Gohan figure. And let's go to his future wife, Videl, wearing her high school uniform there. I think she was also like a defender of the town that she was in. I'll have to go back to the Saiyaman saga and watch that over again. But yeah, Videl's pretty tough, and definitely Chi-Chi vibes there. That's why she and Gohan married each other. And of course, she came with Baby Dino. I think that was the episode where this guy kidnapped the dinosaur, and yeah, it was pretty sad. And the dinosaur was able to get free, and Videl and Gohan were able to catch the guy. Something like that. And not much to Videl, though. It kind of continues the tradition of why they can't make awesome female action figures, because she's very limited. She doesn't have any arm articulation like the other guys do, and yeah, her legs are just stiff. Like, come on. You could have given a Videl the whole full flexibility treatment like Vegeta or whatever, but, cool figure, but not much you can do with her. Kind of sad to say. It'd be kind of cool to see more figures, female figures like Bulma, Videl, Chi-Chi, but goodness, they're expensive. All right, next up, we've got Goten and Trunks in their Super Saiyan forms. And Vegeta was so jealous when Trunks became Super Saiyan, like, when did it become such a child's plaything? Oh man, these toys I remember being hard to find as a kid. Trunks and Goten, say what you want about them. I can't stand these kids in the show, but they have their moments, especially when they fuse into Gotenks, which we'll get into in a minute. Yeah, just tough little guys, just trying to look out for their dads and, the rest of their families. But, my goodness, they were no match for Majin Buu, even in their Gotenks form. And like I said, we'll get to Gotenks in a minute. But yeah, these two figures are really cool. Not too much you can do with them. They have flexibility, but very limited, very restricted. There's only so much you can do with them. Very tiny guys. Yeah. Not too much you can do with these guys, unfortunately, but just for display, it's great. Oops. Sorry, Videl. Let me put Goten and Trunks. And like I said, Trunks is one of my favorite characters. And this is a pretty good Trunks, but I didn't like the character of Trunks in the show. We know in the Buu saga. But there was a character that I did like, and that is our next figure, and that is Deborah, the Demon King, who I personally should have been the main villain, but he would get, of course, mutilated by Majin Buu, if not eaten by Majin Buu. But yeah, Deborah is just an awesome figure. Just like that, that demon gentleman look. And he's got like the plastic cape, which doesn't move. It's just really kind of on there, so I wouldn't pull it back or anything. He's got long legs that don't bend. And this one is not the water squirter. Of course, there would be another version of Deborah that was released that had like a water thing in the middle. But no, this was the actual Irwin released for Series 8. And he has that belt there. And I even thought when I was a kid it disconnected, but nah, it doesn't do that, unfortunately. But yeah, he's got his M there. It's like, how did Bobbity control the Demon King? Like, if you control someone like that who's literally God or, Satan, oh my God, like, we're in trouble. And of course, he has his sword. I love his sword, even though he used it briefly against Gohan, and man, it broke when Gohan tried to snatch it away from him. What can I say? Deborah is one of my favorites. One of my favorite villains. Awesome voice. Awesome match that he had with Gohan. Even though it was his only fight until he fights Majin Buu. And it was unfortunate that he kind of, he was demoted to a lesser role. And then he became a good guy, which was funny. But unfortunately, Deborah didn't get the main bad guy status that Majin Buu would get. But Majin Buu would work in the end. And speaking of Majin Buu, let's go ahead and talk about him now for Series 9, if I can get him out of here. Come on, Buu. Oh no, Yamcha. No one cared about Yamcha. And sorry, Gotenks. You'll get there in a second. Alright, here is Majin Buu. The fat Buu. The one that has the childish demeanor, and there's so many things you can talk about this Buu. He's a bad guy, and then he becomes a good guy, and then he gets eaten. A whole story. But this Buu, I just love the paint job on Buu. He just looks so pretty. The pink just shines. His pants are so, puffy. And it's not like, like a solid toy, which is good. His feet can only go around, and his cape can move up and down if you wanted to. Just kind of make it look like he's blowing in the wind there. Really cool toy. And he's got his holes there that has the steam that come out and makes him angry. And he got, of course, his antenna that turns people into chocolate. Really cool toy. I love this version of Majin Buu. And he also came with the Deborah cookie. It just kind of shows you, sorry, Deborah. Majin Buu took your role as the baddie of the entire arc. And he also came with the dog that would spark Majin Buu's mannerisms to be a good guy. But if I'm corrected, this dog is in the wrong color. Like I believe he was like white. So I don't know why they made him brown in the toy form, but it's still cool that they included him. But wrong color, guys, wrong color. So this was the whole Buu set here: the cookie, the dog, and Buu himself. Really really cool set. Next to Yakon, he was like the heaviest toy, probably next to Spovovich. There we go. Let's put Buu back for Series 9. All right, let's kind of go a little quick here. Now we got Bobbity. Here's one of my survivors, one of my toys that survived all the years of being in the basement and years of abuse. He kind of lost his whiskers there, and other than that, he's still got his cape. Got a little bit of, wear on him, but he still has his M. Not looking too bad. His cape got a little paint marks on him. But yeah, the master himself, the one that pulls the strings in the whole entire Bobbity arc, the one who created Majin Buu. Well, at least his father did, or his doppelganger, like kind of like that whole Star Wars Emperor vibe they went. But Bobbity, not much you can do with him. He's just kind of like a statue. His legs do move, but very restricted. His arms can only go up and down. His head can turn. He can detach his cape, but that's pretty much it. I wouldn't move his clothing up or down or anything. That would kind of ruin it. But yeah, Bobbity would meet his end by his own creation, Buu, when Buu would pretty much punch his head off. It was awful. But yeah, he was the evil one. Didn't give a crap about anybody but himself, and just pretty much his creation destroying everything in its path. Evil son of a bitch. Now let's move on to another henchman of Bobbity's, Pui Pui, who honestly thought in the show, I thought it was called Tweet Tweet. But nope, it's Pui Pui Pui. And I am getting major Frieza vibes from this guy. Other than, a really solid looking figure, this version, they could have done a lot better on the face paint. It kind of just looks like someone took a brush and just kind of smeared it. But I've seen worse. Pui Pui looks pretty good. His M is fantastic. It's pretty spot on in the middle. And he's got like a really dark green body, white boots, white gloves, horns that kind of remind me of Frieza. And when I got him, though, however, his horn was snapped off, and that was unfortunate. And I had to glue him back together and try to get a little bit of the glue shine off there. But other than that, it's really not a huge deal. And Pui Pui is just unfortunate for being completely destroyed by Vegeta. Vegeta completely destroyed him in being stage 1. And oh my goodness, it was brutal. I don't think Pui Pui really gained any offense on Vegeta. Vegeta just like poked him to death pretty much. Poor guy, but he was memorable. Another kind of 2-episode character. And now let's move on to Hercule. Yeah! Hercule, the one who defeated Cell, and of course would help defeat Boo. Well, he did help defeat. Well, come on, let's be honest. Hercule did help. He did play a role in defeating Boo, but in terms of the Cell, he just kind of threw 16's head. But other than that, Hercule, cocky, arrogant, insulting, will do anything to be #1 world martial arts champion. The belt does come off, but I don't really want to take it off. It'll just kind of take a little time, but Hercule is awesome. His head turns, arms bend, just like in his legs and his knees. Phenomenal figure. Hercule, you're a liar, but hey, you're enjoyable to watch. And of course, you would befriend Majin Buu and help him turn into a good guy, but then all hell would come loose later on. Now we're going to move on to series, 7, 8, 9. Oh my goodness, there's so many series. We're going to move on to series 10. And, before I do, let me announce the ones that I don't have. The Goku Halo one, he would be really cool to have. I love the Goku and the halo that he has on his head and the wings. And Krillin. Let me pull this up. Yeah, there we go. I don't have Krillin. I thought I did. I had him years ago. But unfortunately, I don't. I have the original one from the Frieza saga. I don't have the Krillin with his hair currently. If I find him, I will definitely make an episode on him. But now, let us move on to the 10th series. And we're going to start with base form Gotenks. Goten and Trunks fused together to put on the phenomenal 9-year-old warrior, I guess. 8-year-old, whatever, how old Gotenks was. I mean, if they combine the age, shouldn't he be in his, teens or something? But yeah, Gotenks with his vest on. He's got the yellow shoulder puffs there. Got the purple hair, black hair, combination of both kids. Got the blue belt. Really cool. His knees don't bend, though, and his arms kind of restricted, too, just like Goten and Trunks. But really badass figure. That kid, cocky, arrogant, and bad. Come on, Gotenks. There we go. Gotenks would also become the Super Saiyan 3. It kind of came out of nowhere, just like Goku's, but it was really cool to see. This Gotenks is not from the 5-inch Irwin set. I figure I'd bring him out really quickly. He is from a series that if you put the Z Warriors on these platforms, they will light up and sounds of their Super Saiyan sound would emerge. And unfortunately, I don't have the platform, but I figure I'd give you guys a look of Gotenks. His hair is just see-through, gold. It just looks pretty. Really phenomenal figure in Super Saiyan 3. One of the survivors from back in the day. I had him, and I wish I had the platform, but it's still cool that I have the figure of Gotenks, Super Saiyan 3. Not the 5-inch figure. It was like another set that they released. I think it was a striking figure one. Like the one with the little wooden boards. But I like this one. If I don't find the other Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, that's fine. I'm pretty satisfied with this guy. Let's move on to Yamcha. Hey Yamcha, why aren't you in your original attire, man? Why did you have to go with this? Let's bring out Puar too. Oop, come on, buddy. There you go. So Yamcha and Puar, friends to the end. They, of course, debuted in Dragon Ball. Puar can transform into many things. Really cute little guy. And Yamcha, it's a shame they didn't include Yamcha in the original series toys. But hey, I mean, hey, he got a figure, not TN, so that counts for something. TN would be released in the Jakks Pacific series of toys, unfortunately, so no Irwin TN, but they got Irwin Yamcha. Too little too late, but hey, better late than never. His coat does come off, but I don't want to do that. I love the yellow, even though I think it can be kind of easy to stain, but thankfully Yamcha's pretty new, relatively new. He's got the scar on his face, brown shoes, and Puar, just adorable as ever. Just a basic figure. His tail just kind of moves like that, but not much to say about Yamcha, but hey man, the best baseball player in the world. Counts for something. All right, let's move on. And of course, we've gone over this one before, but let's just go over him really quickly. Yakon, the monstrous beast, stage number 2, has those giant knives that come out of his arms and his skinny legs there, but he is monstrous with the holes, and he absorbs light until he gets fat and blows up. But yeah, Yakon's one of my favorite figures next to Majin Buu and Spopovich and Deborah. But my favorite one is to come. But before we do, let's go and talk about Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Another survivor from my original toy line from back in 2003. And besides missing his little hair point right there, a little paint damage here and there, but not too bad. His arms can go, up and down, sideways. Legs can bend. And his hair is just crazy, It's just all over the place. And Goku just looks interesting. I like the smirk. He has no eyebrows. And his Super Saiyan 3 just felt so unearned. It just came out of nowhere. And even Vegeta was pissed off that Goku, he hid the ability for so long. But phenomenal figure. I really want a new one just because, he's missing the point on his head and, he's seen better days. Phenomenal figure, but like I said, he's seen better days. And now, let us talk about my favorite figure of the lineup, Evil Majin Buu. The one that Fat Buu spits out and pretty much continues the saga. For better or worse, let me just say I love this version of Evil Buu, or, the whole Super Buu gimmick. But he was the first one, and I love the gray. And let me just go and say, yes, his M is missing, and I put a little Sharpie there. So I need to find one in perfect condition, but I guarantee you he will be expensive. Look at that. He's even got like a little smear on his lip there. This is another survivor, and like I said, Evil Buu is my favorite. His cape can kind of move. He's flexible despite not being flexible, if that makes sense. Like, his legs don't bend, which they should have, but his arms are, like, so skinny. You can do, like, so many things. Like, look at that. It looks like he's playing baseball. Here's the catch. But yeah, I love this Majin Buu. His gray attire, his purple cape, his gray skin, just like his really deep black eyes with the white pupils. It's just really cool. His purple cape, his gray skin, his vest that just looks like Fat Boo's, but he is skinny and he just needs to eat Fat Buu and become powerful. Kind of getting Genie vibes from him or something. I don't know why, but but yeah, he is my favorite of the entire set. I know I pointed out some other favorites, but if I had to pick one, Evil Buu, that is spat out from Fat Buu, the one that is only in like 2 episodes, and then he becomes the evil pink Super Buu. But this is my favorite, and I will definitely recommend anybody to pick him up if you are a Majin Buu fan. And speaking of Majin Buu, let's kind of go off the Irwin train a little bit. Come on, buddy. There we go. The last one is Super Buu when he absorbed Gohan, Gotenks, and Piccolo. What do I say about this figure? He is so cool. Not so flexible. His legs don't bend, and of course the tentacle kind of makes things a little restricted, but besides lacking flexibility, he is so cool. Super Boo was known, or this version of Super Boo was known for fighting Vegito, and it was embarrassing. Personally, it was the worst fight I've ever seen. But other than that, figure-wise, this is a really cool Super Boo. It's a shame they didn't make like 3 versions, like the one with Piccolo attire and Gotenks attire. But other than that, the one with Gohan's a copy of Goku's gi is pretty cool. And last but not least, before I go over the ones that I don't have of series is 10 and 11, here is my cousin's little Kid Buu. Now, I wanted to include Kid Buu because, come on, this is another survivor, and he's missing his arm, but I always thought that was kind of the point. There's a scene where Kid Buu is fighting one of the Kais when the Supreme Kai is talking about him, and there's a scene where the North Kai rips off his arm, so I thought that was kind of neat. So I was like, you know what, I'll take Kid Buu. It's good of my cousin to let me have him. But other than that, he is not flexible at all. His legs don't move. He's just a statue minus his arm going up and down. Oh, God. And his head can twirl. But, yeah, Kid Buu is pure evil, man. He blew up the earth. Evil son of a bitch. I have no sympathy for him. And thank God Goku finally killed him with that spirit bomb. And he was able to reincarnate himself as Oob. Really strange story. So now let me go over the ones I don't have really quickly. Series 10, Gohan in his high school uniform, and Vegeta with his Halo. Unfortunately, yeah, I had Halo Vegeta way back in the day, but God, I should have kept most of them. And on Series 11, I don't have the Supreme Kais, Shin and Kobito. But for the most part, I have a good portion of the whole Majin Buu arc, Irwin toy 5-inch figures, and I hope to find the rest of the toys someday, but God, they are expensive, especially like Evil Boo or Super Saiyan 3 Goku. But until then, this has been Tylercloud, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of my third part of Dragon Ball Z Irwin toy collection. And before I end the episode, I did forget to mention Babidi had a little coconut. Wow, a coconut egg. I don't even think this was even Babidi's. I think this was Cell's little egg that he hatched out of. So why he included a coconut egg with him, I don't know. But I thought that was kind of neat to point out. He should have had his magic meter. He had like a magic meter in the show where it like leveled like how strong Majin Buu was getting. But I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a weird thing to point out. Like, I lost the egg, but I don't even know why Babidi came with an egg. But, ladies and gentlemen, the next Irwin toy episode I'm going to review is the one that has all the vehicles. I'm going to have to find the Trunks time machine and the rest of Gohan's bikes before I ever review those, because I really want to include them all. That's kind of why I wanted to hold off on the third part of my Irwin toy episode, because I wanted to include Yakon, just because I really loved him, and it wouldn't seem right not including Yakon. So, here's to you, Yakon. I wanted to wait for you, and I got you, and here you are. Well, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, this has been Tylercloud, and I will see you all next time. Oh, yeah.
I'm amazed that Babidi would send us such a weakling.